You know a dream is like a river, ever changing as it flows. And a dream is just a vessel that must follow where it goes. Trying to learn from what's behind and never knowing what's in store makes each day a constant battle, just to stay between the shore. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. This is Maxwell Ivy, known around the world as the Blind Blogger, and you can find me at theblindblogger.net. Also available on Twitter at Maxwell Ivy. Okay, today I'm going to share a little event that happened to me back in 1984 because I think there's a couple of examples in it that might help you and show you how I approach things and how hopefully the people I surround myself will approach things. In August 22nd, 1984, I had a court of honor where I received my rank of Eagle Scout in the Boy Scouts of America. At the time, I was the first blind person in the Sam Houston Area Council, which covers Southeast Texas, to do so. It also happened to be the 75th anniversary of scouting in the Houston area. So it was a big deal for everybody, and I got a couple of really unique, neat opportunities out of doing that. One was I got to ride in what was then called the Foley's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And two, I was invited to throw out the first pitch at an Astros game. This was back when the Astros still played in the Astrodome before they moved to Minute Maid Park. Now, at that time, I was in college, so I was going to do this on a Saturday. And also, it's important to the story to understand that I was not a serious baseball fan and didn't know all the ins and outs of the game at the time. So I found out they were wanting me to throw out the first pitch, and my scoutmaster, James Duncan, and the assistant scoutmaster, David Crandall, two people I've always respected, said, Max, you don't want to look like an idiot when you go out there. You want to look like you at least prepared to throw it, and you really want it to make it all the way to the catcher and end up in its mitt. I said, okay. So I asked around the college campus. I was at Blinn College at the time until I found somebody who would help me go out and practice throwing out the first pitch. Now, we stepped off 90 feet because that's how far it is from home plate to first base. I knew that much about baseball. But I did not know that it's shorter from home plate to the pitcher's mound. I should have, because I've always been good at math, and everybody knows A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So I was practicing throwing 90 feet and ended up the pitcher's mound is only about 62 and a half. And that's when you're standing on the very top center part of the mound. So it was probably less than 60 where I was going to stand. But 3 days a week after classes, my friend would go out and I would throw to his mitt, and we never finished without me throwing 5 consecutive balls into the mitt. Comes the day of the event at the Astrodome, I go down there, and before the game, they want me to go out and throw some practice pitches just to make sure everything's going to go well. I go out there, and I throw the first pitch over the catcher all the way to the net behind home plate. Next couple of pitches are lower, but they're still over the catcher's head. Another thing I didn't realize is that catchers crouch. So while I was throwing to somebody who was standing, on the day of the game, I'd be throwing to somebody down in a squatting position. So that made it a little more difficult. But, you know, I practiced, I prepared, I was ready. Somebody finally had the bright idea. They said, you know, we don't usually do this because pitchers are very funny about the mound. We don't like to let people who aren't players stand on the mound, much less throw from it. They said, but, you know, the mound is a slope. If you stand on this and throw, it's going to naturally push your body to where you're throwing the ball downhill. And we tried that a few times, and it worked really well. I was happy that they suggested it and they were willing to try something a little out of their comfort zone and something that was unusual to them just to make this work so I would look good. So come the beginning of the game, I went out there. I was hoping that, I'd get to meet Alan Ashby or Nolan Ryan, but neither one of them were playing that day. So I threw the ball to a guy named John Beetle Bailey. And we still have the ball somewhere. The last thing my scoutmaster said before I threw the pitch is he said, "This is your moment. Don't throw this ball until you're ready." So I took a few deep breaths. I got my feet where I wanted them, and I threw what, according to the crowd and anybody that would answer me, was a perfect strike to the catcher. I'm sure it wasn't. I have no illusions. During the warm-ups, a 10-year-old kid told me I was doing it wrong and said he could show me how to throw it much harder. And I told him, no, I just want to get the ball there. So, which is another thing to think about. We all have different ideas of what success is. That kid was thinking he wants a number on the radar gun. Me, just let me get this ball to the catcher's mitt so I can get out of here and go home. Go sit in my seat and listen to the game and have a hot dog and a Coke. So it was a great day. I enjoyed it. My only regret is that nobody seems to have any photos of me doing it. I know that a friend of my dad's watched it on one of the really old first edition satellites, but nobody has any VCR tape of it either. And I tell you, it was a little scary. I mean, the place wasn't full because the Astrodome held about 65,000. I'd say there was probably 25 or 30,000 people there. And most of them had no interest in whether or not I threw the pitch. They'd probably laugh at me if I hadn't. But this was before social media, so it's not like I was going to end up being a YouTube star or a YouTube joke. But once I got out there on the mound, once I threw my practice warm-up throws, once we had it figured out exactly how I was going to successfully throw the ball to the catcher, I really didn't worry about it anymore after then. And maybe that's one of those first events where it probably didn't seem like I was as nervous as I was or should have been, just because I had done everything that I could have done, and I was in the moment of just focusing on throwing the ball from here to the catcher without tripping on my shoes or throwing the ball into the mesh again. Focusing on what you're doing, being in the moment, and having that good mindset are all things to remember. And it doesn't hurt to have people along with you who want to see you succeed and will help you find unusual solutions, even if they're not the solutions they usually would have offered. It was a great day. Me and the rest of my scout troop had a good day. The Astros won. I can't remember who they beat. I think it was the Padres, but I'm not sure. And it's one of my best memories, probably my last real good memory of scouting. And can't thank those people enough. Mr. Duncan, Mr. Crandall, and some of the scouts, Barry Lassiter, Scott Pate, and Thomas Morrison, who I recently reconnected with on Facebook, of all things. All righty, that's it for this time. Thank you so much for listening, for supporting, for watching. And I couldn't do this without you. If you are interested in supporting me, you can go over to theblindblogger.net. You can buy my books. You can contribute on PayPal. You can hire me to coach you on your online media or get you bookings. Or you could just say, hi, Max, love your work, and just wanted to connect with you. All right, until next time, thank you. God bless you, and take care out there. This is Max Ivy, the Blind Blogger. And there's bound to be rough waters, and I know I'll take some falls. But with the good Lord as my captain, I can make it through them all. I will sail my vessel till the river runs dry. Like a bird upon the wind, these waters are my sky. I'll never reach my destination if I never try. So I will sail my vessel till the river runs dry.